No, this is just going to be a kind of quick yes or no. I mean, I don't know how quick it will be, but the concept is just a yes or no question. So we're just going to do 4 piles again, and I'm going to actually introduce the decks I'm working with today ahead of time because last time I felt weird just sort of like telling everyone what decks we were using in the middle of the readings or the beginnings of the readings. So today we are going to be using the Memento Mori deck. It's an Oracle deck right now. It also doubles as a Lenormand deck, but we're not getting into that yet. And it's by Claire Goodchild, who did the Compendium of Constellations deck that I was using last time. And we're using the Moonology deck, which is a classic. I'm sure people are very familiar with that one, but it is by Yasmin Boland. I really hope I said that right. I think I put the stress a little bit weird on Yasmin. And then the last deck we'll be using, and sorry it's going to shake a little bit, but I had to use one of my hands, is the Shadowscape deck by, hold on a second, I have to look at the box. Where is the box? Not there. Oh, there we go. Okay, oh, there's Romeo. I'll just cut that out. I learned a little bit of editing. I can totally manage cutting something out. So the Shadowscape Tarot is by Stephanie Puimun-La, which it's a really good deck. I think it was one of my, I want to say like fourth deck. Morning, afternoon, or evening, pile 1. But like I selected on my own because I here is your reading. I was just like, here, have tarot decks. And I was like, thank you. Selected at the beginning of, and then I didn't know what to do with them because they haven't been decks that called to me. I just kind of put your Oracle cards up, right? That's not the point. Part of the reason I'm doing this is I think because I'm a little lonely sway your opinion of what you should be asking if you didn't pick it beforehand. But then again, and oracles with people, you've probably I'll try not to ramble too much. So I'm sure that's what that is. Go ahead and pick your card. I apologize. We are again just focusing on a yes or no question. So I drew 3 cards earlier, and these were the cards that were in the piles you picked, and they are representative of why you're leaning towards yes for the answer of your question, why you're leaning towards no, and what the situation is. Kind of, I guess this is probably what's causing confusion, but I'm not really sure. I didn't really think about like how I would interpret the card. That's just sort of the general tone of the reading. And so I'm going to pan over them a little bit. So we have rats, and this actually I'm supposed to lift them up, aren't I? That's how people normally do it. So for your first card, for yes, why you think the answer to this question is yes, we have rats. And rats are obviously, and I'm doing that thing where I tilt the camera up, I apologize. Rats are obviously associated with a certain amount of bad environments. They're like generally kind of show up when you leave food out or when you don't necessarily clean up enough, but they do actually prefer neater environments is what I've heard. I've never had a rat problem, so I don't quite know, but well, that's not entirely true. My grandparents had a rat problem, but that's because we had grain bins. So what this is telling me is that you are telling yourself this is what's going to happen because of like either you have a bad feeling or you are just kind of feeling pessimistic. But like you just have a feeling that the answer to this question is yes. And you're trying to kind of figure out whether you should trust that feeling or not. Because obviously sometimes when we have a bad feeling, it's because something bad's going to happen. But sometimes it's just anxiety. And we live in a very stressful environment in the world, and it can be hard to tell. So that's for why you think the answer is yes, and this is for why you think the answer is no, because if you knew what the answer was, or if you knew what to think the answer was, you wouldn't be on a pick a card for yes or no questions. So the reason you lean towards child for your no answer is child is about like new beginnings, purity, innocence, trusting the universe kind of. So I think you want to just have an open mind. You want to just trust this situation to play out in a way that's good for everyone. And there's a lot of emotions here. So it's a very emotional matter. I wouldn't be surprised if it was like, is so-and-so cheating on me, or are my friends talking about me behind my back, or things like that. It's something where like your emotions are clouding your judgment, and you're having a hard time knowing like for sure what to think. So you probably know the answer more concretely. Like, it's not something that's being hidden from you necessarily, but you're still kind of like not sure what to think, because it could just be anxiety, or you could be telling yourself something, like you could just be being too naive. You just don't really know whether you should trust the situation, or whether you should go with your gnawing worries. And like if going with your gnawing worries would be like snooping or something, don't do that. But if you have concerns about someone cheating on you, or if you have concerns about your friends talking about you behind your back, or if you have concerns about being passed up for things that are not necessarily professional, definitely like open up those conversations. They can be hard and scary and difficult to approach, but it's better to have that conversation and settle whatever this anxiety is firmly in the ground than it is to let it eat at you and just sort of waffle between, should I believe the best or should I believe the worst? Sometimes you can't have those conversations, but if you can, definitely like take that opportunity. Don't snoop though. Don't snoop. Don't like talk. Don't start talking about your friends behind their back. Don't spread rumors. Don't do anything like that, because that's not going to help you in the long run. But we'll get to the actual reading now. And so we have the world for you. And we have 7 of Pentacles in reverse. And the Page of Cups upright. So I definitely am getting kind of an emotional matter is more romantic in nature than not, because we do have the Page of Cups here. And so with 3 card spreads, this card is going to be more like who you are and your internal world, and this card is going to be more the external world. Same with past to future. So starting with the world as like the first card drawn, you are definitely you are anxious about things that like you don't need to be anxious about. You've got things under control. It's not just that like the world around you is good, but you have the tools you need to get through this. You have the tools you need to like succeed and be really like, I'm trying to get rid of that glare, really mature about it, I guess. Like you have the ability to handle things not only successfully, but in a way that like is very diplomatically, like you're a good leader probably. You have the confidence and willpower to succeed here, and it's gonna go your way. And with the 7 of Pentacles in reverse as the middle card, it's just kind of where your external world or your internal world meets your external world. You're just really impatient about something. So if you're asking about like, maybe this person has moved on from me and they're not interested anymore in me, it's because things aren't moving as fast as you want them to move, not because they've actually, like, just look at their actual actions and take the situation for what it is at face value kind of deal. Because with the Page of Cups over here, this is probably going to represent someone else because it is in your external world. And this is all about like communicating emotions and communicating relationships stuff. So like this is someone who has a message for you and they aren't really able to give it to you right now because the page's back is turned away from the 7 of Pentacles and that's really trippy. I'm taking my hand out of the screen because that feels so weird. Like this page of, I'm putting my hand back in the screen. This Page of Pentacles is really distracted by, or not the Page of Pentacles, sorry, the 7 of Pentacles is really distracted by the Page of Cups because you have all this other stuff to focus on. You have like projects, you have opportunities, you have dreams to pursue, and you're killing it. You are making those things happen. But the world is facing away from the Seven of Pentacles. All those dreams and ambitions don't have to do with this thing that you're worrying about. The Seven of Pentacles is facing towards the Page of Cups, and the Page of Cups is in turn facing away from the Seven of Pentacles. You're really impatient. You really don't want to like sit back and just let things happen. But your world and this other person's world over here aren't focused on your timing. And you're gonna have to just sit back and relax because things are going to happen when they happen. So if this isn't an emotional matter, we do have some pentacles here, so there could be, we have 1 pentacles, and then the world is sort of an earth-aligned card in modern times. So we do have some concerns about stability, and like maybe you're wondering if you should be going out and moving out on your own, and maybe like looking for a roommate or things like that. Ooh, yeah, if you're looking for a roommate, I'm sure you will find someone very soon. Just it'll be okay. If you're worried about being able to pay rent, this next rent cycle might be a little hard, but you will find a new roommate to help pay rent soon. I'm none of these cards are fast moving, but I just kind of feel like it'll happen soon. You'll be okay. Because again, like the world can make ends meet, and there is a person who is very like positive about you, who is very like emotionally pleased with how they like get on with you over here, and like you just have to hold your horses and be patient. So and then from the bottom of the deck we do have 1 more card. I feel like, hold on, there's a little bit more here. And then, what is that? That's a little bit of lint, I think. Yeah, lint. Whew. There's I should have, like, mapped out what kind of questions these might have to do with, because if this is a spiritual question, again, like, you've accomplished a lot spiritually very recently, and you're kind of, like, done with that phase of your life, and you're really wanting to go back into that student mode. That is one where I would actually interpret the Page of Cups as you. And there's not really anything for you to do right now spiritually. I'm sorry. You're just gonna have to wait. And so from the bottom of the deck we have 1 more card, and that is the Ace of Swords. Oops, I'm supposed to lift and show you. And the Ace of Swords is, of course, being an ace, it's going to naturally like make this more of a yes than it would be otherwise, although I'm inclined to say if the answer is yes and the question was negative, it's yes in a way that is going to be an unexpected bonus. So if you're wondering, if you're wondering if you're going to if you're wondering if something bad is going to happen, and it does happen, it's going to be actually something where there's a hidden opportunity in it, because you have the world representing you, and these cards are like, even with the Seven of Pentacles in reverse, it's not a bad card to have, it just is like you're a little impatient. It's not that nothing's going to happen. And you're putting a lot more emotional weight on this matter than it needs to have. If the answer is for something like positive, the answer is definitely going to be yes. If you're asking if someone likes you, they do. If you're asking if you're going to get all of your graduation credits properly, yeah, you'll be fine. You're just getting a little ahead of yourself. If you are wondering about something spiritual, yes, but not right now. If you're wondering about something, God, there's no wand energy, so I don't feel like there's anything really career-based going on. But if you're wondering about something health-wise, just give yourself time to relax. I feel in that case it's actually a no. If you're asking about, like, am I going to be like this forever? Am I going to be stuck recovering from this forever, then the answer is no. It's just going to take a while. So try and be patient with yourself. If you're wondering about like if you're going to recover quickly, then obviously the answer would be a yes, but I don't think that's really how you would phrase your question. I feel like you would have phrased your question more as like, I feel like you phrased your question a little negatively because you're feeling a little suspicious and stuck, but you're not going to be stuck forever. So whatever you're hoping to happen is going to happen. And whatever you're telling yourself is going to happen is just anxiety, I would say. Or if it's not just anxiety and you are right about, oh God, I need to stop doing that. That's so disorienting to have like my hand on the camera screen instead of, it feels weird. But if you are asking about something bad happening, it's probably just because you don't want to open up and trust the universe. And with these two cards here, both emphasizing trust, just, yeah, it's an anxiety thing. Just open up to the world. And if you're having a hard time relaxing because things aren't happening fast enough, I wouldn't recommend trying to like just fill your time aimlessly with things. I would maybe recommend trying to like sit down and appreciate how far you've come and how much you've got, because you are very fortuitous. I think you have a lot of things to be grateful for, and you're kind of sinking into that mentality of it not being enough because you're focused on all the things you don't have. So, you know, just sort of take an inventory of what you have in your life and what you've accomplished, and you should be good. I think that's about everything I have for you. Oh, well, I didn't really interpret the Ace of Swords. I just was like, oh, Ace, that's a yes. The Ace of Swords is, of course, all about truth and new thoughts and new ideas. So if you are searching for inspiration for a new approach to things, you will find one, and that will probably help you out a lot. So if you're feeling really stuck, really stuck, and just like taking inventory of everything that you have doesn't help, just like look at the possible actions that you have and look at the possible actions that you have been taking and see where you haven't been necessarily like trying new things. But I wouldn't sweat it. I wouldn't force yourself to do things. There's no wands here. There's no real need for action. Just wait it out and practice some sitting with your thoughts and mindfulness and meditating and stuff. That'll make you feel better. Okay, now it's recording. Alright, so I'm just gonna splice this into the end of your video, pile one. I didn't say thank you for watching, so I want to say that now. Thank you for watching. I hope you have a lovely day, and take care. Good morning, afternoon, or evening, pile two. So this is going to be your yes or no reading, and I have drawn first the oracle cards you picked earlier. Whoops. One of these days I will probably end up investing in a stand or something for this, because this is a little hard to hold steady. So we have, for why you're kind of leaning towards yes, we have the wheel. And then over here, for why you're kind of leaning towards no, we have the sachet. And then for just sort of like what's keeping you undecided, I think we have full moon and Taurus. Your dreams need a practical plan, which we will get into momentarily, but it's probably pretty straightforward. So with the wheel here, this is about traveling and forward movement and direction. I think if I were to describe it in a tarot card, I'd probably relate it to the Chariot, because it has aspects of travel as well as aspects of overcoming difficulties, and it's associated with water. In the Lenormand deck, because this is figure 3, and this deck, like I said earlier, was also a Lenormand oracle, the wheel is here taking the place of the ship, which is about longing as well, and sort of like goals and dreams and ambitions, which we see in the full moon and Taurus card. And then for why you lean towards no, because if you knew what you thought was what the answer was, you wouldn't be on a pick a card. And the sachet represents sort of like having resources and being kind of like focusing on those resources. So I would say this is sort of like the practical matter, since we have the full moon in Taurus and it's about balancing practicality with dreams. The wheel is your dreams, and they're saying yes. And the practical matters are kind of saying no right now, especially if you are interested in traveling. And this is supposed to be timeless, but at the time it's being filmed, we're in a quarantine. And it's probably going to like disappear off the algorithm long before like the quarantine is over. So I don't even know if anyone's watching this. Anyway, so with this card for your situation and practicality, it talks about not necessarily doing the work you need to do in order to make your dreams happen. And I feel like you might be asking about something that you have the power to accomplish. So if you want to get going as like a famous artist or a famous photographer, you have the ability to improve your work and find an audience and everything, but you're kind of not doing it. And sometimes the hardest part of accomplishing our dreams is just taking the first step and deciding to just do it even if you're bad at it. So if you're asking about a relationship or a like commitment that you have with another person, it's probably a situation where you are able to just go and talk to them about what's going on with you, but you don't want to. You want them to do the work. And that's just not how it's gonna work. You need to be able to take responsibility for your own actions. And if you're asking about money, because this is a earth sign, if you're asking about money, this card says that it really depends on how you've been handling your money and what your attitude towards money is. So make sure that you're not seeing money as something that is something you have to make sacrifices for and something that you have to like constantly be pushing yourself for, because you're going to get worn out and you're going to have a hard time making that money. You're going to have a hard time making a good impression on people that could hire you. You're going to have a hard time retaining customers, that kind of stuff. And you're also probably, if you see money as something scarce, you're probably going to go after every opportunity you can, even when some of those opportunities don't provide enough back. I am definitely not thinking about Uber Eats. Definitely not, especially because I really wish we had delivery in my town. Anyway, I'm going to flip over your tarot cards now, and we have the Ace of Cups in reverse, the Ace of Swords in reverse, and the Six of Cups in reverse. So yeah, I definitely think this is something you have control over, and it's not going to happen until you start putting in the work to make it happen. So we have two aces here, and aces kind of correlate to a yes energy almost always. If the Ace of Wands is a yes, the Ace of Cups is a yes, the Ace of Swords is a yes, the Ace of Pentacles is a yes, but they're reversed. And so that reversal tells me that there's like this sense of blockage, this sense of stagnancy. And since they're more on your end of things, because with a 3-card spread, this end of things is more your stuff, and then this end of things is more the external world. With 2 aces on your end of things, because this is where your end of things meets the external world, it's really, you're not taking the actions you need to take in order to make this happen. So if you are waiting on a romantic commitment, because we've got a few cups here. Although I really don't think this is you probably are not asking about a romantic commitment, but you could be, because everyone wants romance in life all over the place. Maybe not everyone, but it's a very popular topic. It's definitely a situation where you're waiting for them to move towards you, and you're waiting for like someone new to come into your life, and you're not doing anything to put yourself out there. And part of that might be current events, but part of it is also because you don't really know where to start. So we have the Six of Cups upright. It talks about things that are familiar. It talks about past events. It talks about like childhood innocence, and like we keep coming back to this sense of like things that are familiar, that you know what to do with. When it's a people talk about it being a soulmate card because it's something that resonates with you in a way that is familiar. It feels like home. And in reverse, one of the things it can talk about is things that are not familiar, things that are coming up that are new. It can talk about future events. It can talk about things that are unexpected or that you don't necessarily know what to do with. And I think with that and the Ace of Swords in reverse, it's a situation where you're just so overwhelmed because it's so far out of your comfort zone. You want to do this, you want to make this happen, but you don't even know where to start. You're like, I don't even know what supplies to get. Maybe you've checked out some books from the library on how to make it happen, and you're like, I can't make heads or tails of this. In which case, definitely look into your learning style, because your learning style can influence things. If you were asking about something work-related, I definitely think that what would help you get more opportunities in that regard and get more of a yes out of this situation is if you were to connect with your coworkers a little bit. I feel like if you were asking about getting that raise or getting that promotion, it's not so much that you need to go up to your boss and be like, hey, can I have a raise? But you need to like create that relationship where they see you not as like a random office worker, but as like, oh, hey, that's Bob. He is really into fishing. Like even if you're the most ordinary person in existence, when we see someone and like know like their hobbies or like their interests or like what kind of weather they like, we start seeing them more as humans and less as machines. And it's not anything like, I mean, it's kind of depressing sometimes, but it's not like unnatural. Our brains are processing so much when it comes to other people. We process so much like micro expressions, little changes in body language, all these things, and like our brains are just stuffed to the gills with every person that it adds into its repertoire, and there's just sort of a limit to how much people can be people to us. And it's good to work on compassion, but it's also part of that is understanding other people's limits. So if you're asking about promotions or raises, understand your boss's limitations in this regard, which is that they have to deal with everyone else in the company. And so if you want them to consider you for a raise, don't like buddy up to them to just like make them like think that you're friends, but like give them a reason to see you as like an individual. And not necessarily in like a super dramatic way, but just like, hey, man, I know it's rainy, but the rain always puts me in a good mood, if that's true for you. Or stuff like that. And like notice things about them too. Notice things about your coworkers. Notice things about like I remember one time I had a boss who commented on me always being cheerful in the rain, and it made me very happy just to like have someone notice that. And like commenting on things that your coworkers do that like are just like cute little quirks or something, that'll probably make them happy. So like create some new connections in your work if you're asking about a work matter. And like start that conversation. Just sort of like put yourself out there, not necessarily in a really like forward like ambitious way, but just emotionally. And that'll probably help you out a lot financially as well. Not necessarily like in the sense of you're getting something out of them, but in the sense that like, oh, hey, so-and-so called out for their shift. I wonder who we can get to cover it. Oh, I know. Bob, who really likes fishing, also probably would like to work a little bit more. Like, they'll just think of you a little sooner, that kind of thing. I don't know, that sounds really manipulative. We're going to talk about stuff that's not work. So if you are asking about a spiritual thing, you might be wanting to get into something like really complicated. Like maybe you're trying to study astrology, or maybe astrology is more occult than spiritual, but like kind of gets lumped together in the tarot pick a card community. So if you are asking about a spiritual matter, it's like you might be trying to reconnect with your roots or something where you just really don't have any idea to start. And I think for you, the advice that I have is just to, in order to make this a yes rather than a no, just take that first step. Check out a book from the library. Look up a podcast. Just like take the first step. And then from there, you will have another step and you will take that step. And that will be how you get to a yes. Because what the wheel for your yes card is telling me is that you know this already, but this is a matter where it comes down to your ability to do the work that you need to do. And it's like you have to put yourself out there. You have to put the effort in. Don't just wait around. Don't just like sit around manifesting things. Actually, like, it's good to manifest things. It's good to have a clear intent for what you want out of life, but like, go ahead and I don't understand what the numbers on the bottom of my recording screen are. Go ahead and like marry that practicality, or marry those dreams with some practicality. Take some physical action regarding them. And at the bottom of the deck, we had the Queen of Cups. And the thing about the Queen of Cups is that she is a bit of a dreamer. But she's not the kind of dreamer who like loses herself in her dreams the way the page might. She's the kind of person who approaches things from a way that is maybe not super conventional. And so I think with all this like water energy, like you have all of these dreams and everything, and you have all like these emotions, but you don't have anything grounding them. So I definitely think basically for your reading, it's a yes if you are willing to start doing the work towards this. If you're kind of just not willing to put that much effort into it, it's a no. But also, in that case, you probably didn't want it that much anyway. So that's your reading. Thank you for watching. I hope you have a lovely day. Good morning, afternoon, or evening, pile 3. So I have set out the oracle cards that you selected, and over here we have, why you are leaning towards a yes answer. And I think, so this card is basically about timing and like something happening really fast. So I think you're basically, it's less of like a yes and more of like a, well, I'll know the answer really, really soon, so it's not something to worry about, but you might be worrying a little bit. We'll get to that really quick. So that's what makes you think it's a yes, and then what makes you think it's a no is the globe. And what this card is telling me is that you probably are asking about something where the shot is like, it's slim chances, and you know it's slim chances, but you have a chance, so you can't stop thinking about it. And it's something that would make you really happy. So for your situation, we have you and your loved ones are safe, new moon and Cancer. And what this card says is that you have all these emotions, and some of them are really intensely happy emotions. But like, I don't think it's this sort of thing where you're like, you don't want to get your hopes up too much. And I think what this card wants to say before we get into the actual reading itself is like, it's okay to have those hopes and to like fantasize about what if you do get this. That's not going to hold you back or anything. So go ahead and just let your imagination run wild with regards to whatever this is, because you're going to find out pretty soon anyway. Yeah, I don't know, like, good luck, I guess. It looks like, I don't know, the sort of thing where like if you're asking if you're going to win the lottery, or if you're going to get tickets to this performer's concert, or you know, something like where it's really slim chances and you have everything to gain but not really anything to lose for trying. So for your cards, hold on, we have a 3-card spread is what I've been using. So we have the King of Cups, and the Knight of Swords in reverse, and the Lovers. Oh my. So you're asking about someone grumpy coming into your life, quite possibly. Do you want to sort of, I'm gonna start with like the romantic angle of things because we have the Lovers. I'm sorry, that's just, we're starting with the romantic angle. So you are like, you're pretty settled about this. If this person approaches you, you're gonna be like, really, I dropped my phone. So if you're pretty settled on this, you're not really like worrying too much. It's more like your mind is running wild with all these fantastic scenarios and daydreams and fantasies. You might like have a new crush on someone and you're like, man, if only something amazing could happen between us, and then like you don't think you're ever going to see them again. Or you think you'll see them again really soon, but it's not necessarily like, yeah, like I could see one of your questions could be like something like, will I see that handsome gentleman at the bus stop again tomorrow, or something like that. I'm gonna edit this whole reading a lot because my commentary is a little bit off the walls. I apologize. So let's see. So this person that you're thinking about is a little bit taciturn and a little bit in their head. They're probably kind of grumpy. So that's part of the reason, if you're asking about a person, it's part of the reason you think your answer is going to be more no, is because you're like, well, statistically speaking, they probably have like people they actually already are like emotionally open with, and I'm not one of them, so it's probably not going to go anywhere. But like, I don't know, if you were asking about a person and you know them and they're kind of grumpy, but you're still like, you have this connection going on, I think they do feel things for you as well. So if you're asking if someone likes you, yeah, they like you, but they're not good at showing it, and you are way more emotionally stable than they are as well. So obviously, it's up to you if you get involved with a person like that as well. Like when I say emotionally, you're more emotionally stable, I don't mean that it's bad for you to get involved with them, because with the new moon in Cancer, safety is really emphasized here, and like there's all these strong emotions, but it's a positive card. Whatever's going to happen is going to, it'll be fine. So if you are asking about something work related, you're going to have to make a decision soon in that case. Like if this isn't a romance thing, then the Lovers probably speaks to a decision that you will have to make. And it's, or actually, hold on, because it's not a decision you'll have to make. It's a decision someone else has made regarding you. So that's why I see. So you're sitting here and you're like, okay, whatever happens, happens. And then this person is going to come in and be like, here's the decision we made for you. So if you're asking about a job interview, you probably, if you're hearing from someone about a job interview, you probably got the job, or at least you've got like the next step in the application process, because most of the time they just don't bother saying anything. And the Knight of Swords is in reverse, and sometimes that can indicate blockages, but the thing about the reversal here is that that means that the knight is also facing the king, who is facing away. So you're not really expecting to hear back about this opportunity, but it looks like you will, and it will be good news. If you're asking, especially if this is a career thing for you, actually, because like it is a situation where it's like 1 in a million, and so it's like a huge opportunity for you that you're hoping that you actually got, and it looks like that might be the case. I'm a little hesitant making a prediction that way, so if you are watching this and you do end up getting this 1 in a million chance, absolutely please let me know. I want to hear about it. Otherwise, I mean, I'm not going to worry too much, because like I said, it's good for you to let your imagination regarding the situation run wild. Let it out. Let all those emotions be. And then from the bottom of the deck, and I actually saw this before I started reading and then forgot about it. We do have the 7 of Swords though. So there might be some sneaky behavior going on regarding this. So like competition could be pretty fierce for whatever opportunity this is. And there might be some less than honorable approaches to it going on. So even though we have this emphasis on safety here, I would definitely, especially if you're like submitting a portfolio or something like that, I would definitely make sure and like trademarks, well, not trademark, but like make sure you watermark stuff, and make sure you like well, I guess you can't really watermark it if it's traditional, but like make sure you're keeping your intellectual property safe. Make sure you're sort of like, even though this is such a good opportunity, don't lose yourself in how good it is. Make sure you are also keeping an eye on like the consequences for it. If you want to work at Disney, you have to know, word on the street is Disney's the way Disney treats their workers is not the greatest. So even if you don't get this opportunity, you might actually be like, oh, good, that's for the best then. But if you do get the opportunity, it's a great opportunity for you, which might sound very contradictory. Just like kind of think of it in terms of divine intervention. If you don't get this opportunity, it's because the downsides would have been too much for you with the Seven of Swords over here. If you do get the opportunity, congratulations, because it is a once-in-a-lifetime thing. But don't lose sight of, like, don't get carried away by how great it is, because you might need to. And, like, if we go back to relationship stuff, again, this guy or gal or whomever is a little grumpy, a little bit, they're not quite as emotionally mature as you, so there might be some things where you have to be like, hey, here's the boundaries I need to set. And just, like, you know. As for spiritual things, because I did cover spiritual things in the other two, this doesn't really feel like a very spiritual based reading. We have the Watch, which is very immediate, and then, like, the Globe is about the material world. So I don't think you're asking about something spiritual, but if you are, the answer is no. Like, the answer is you need to make sure you're not letting spirituality get in the way of your material world, because this reading is so very oriented around, like, the material world. So make sure you're not getting involved in any cults if you're really into spiritual stuff, and focus on your loved ones, especially family members, but also if you have a romantic interest and things are going that way, don't neglect them. The King of Cups is very emotionally mature, but he can also be the sort of person in our environment, the King of Cups can be the sort of person where, because he's so emotionally mature, he's really good at, like, letting go of things, because we are in an environment that's really emphasizing that as the skill to learn. And so I think, like, the sign of emotional maturity lately has been, like, letting go of being able to let go of things. And and, like, with Cancer's not good at letting go of things. So I think, like, make sure you're not forcing yourself to cut people out who you don't want to cut out. Like, they're in your life for a reason, probably, in your case, and you need to make sure that you are, like, appreciating why you chose them, and not focusing on all the downsides about them. And if they're really doing something that causes you significant distress, make sure you're communicating that it causes you distress before you just go from 0 to 100 with the cutting ties thing. So probably the answer is probably actually yes for your question. But if it's no, it's not going to be, you don't really have anything to lose in this regard. You're not missing out on anything if the answer is no, because you're still going to have a lot of opportunities, and you're still going to have a lot of, like, time to work on your dreams and yourself and everything. And and, like, you got a lot out of this situation even just by having this opportunity. I think, like, it inspired you in a way that has probably changed things for you, I guess. That's all I have for you. I think this reading might be a little bit short, but, like, you're also going to get your concrete real world answer really soon, so don't sweat it too much. Let your imagination run wild about things, and if you have pets, give them lots of hugs and kisses. Thank you for watching. I hope you have a lovely night, and take care. Good morning, afternoon, or evening, pile number 4. Before we get started, I'm gonna, if you want to just take a moment and pause the video and make yourself a cup of tea or hot chocolate, it seems like we've got some kind of heavy energy here. So I have drawn, I've flipped over the oracle cards that you picked earlier. And I'm going to just keep talking, even though I did just tell you to make a cup of tea, because again, there is the pause button. Definitely, I don't know, or like a hot chocolate. I said hot chocolate already. Just something warm to hold on to. That's not coffee. So for what makes you think the answer to your question is yes, is we have chiromancy, and that's about like fate and things that you can't avoid and that are already predetermined. And like on its own, that wouldn't be so bad. But for why you think the answer is no, we have clover. And clover is about luck, and it's also a protection from hexes and like abundance and things like that. And so this is kind of like, no, this couldn't possibly happen because I have so much like going for me in life that's so good. Well, chiromancy is sort of like, but you know this has to happen. And so it's like, I feel like you're in a situation where you're, like that what you're asking about is something where you don't feel like you have control of things and you're just, which, I mean, it's a yes or no reading. Nobody has control over the things that they're asking about here. But like you, that was a lie. Pile 2 does. Never mind. So you definitely feel like this is something that's out of your hands. And then with this card here, you really just need something to do so badly. So after you're done with this reading, if you want to do a little bit of homework, and like write down some intentions and some like things to do, either about your situation or just in general, goals to focus on, you know, when you get overwhelmed with this need to do something and this inability to do anything, that might be helpful for you in future. I feel like this is something that's been stressing you out a lot, and I hope you're doing something to, you know, comfort yourself a little bit. Get yourself a stuffed animal and put it in the dryer. If you have a dryer. Some people have to do coin-operated laundry, and that's not a very good suggestion then. If you have a hair dryer, maybe like dry the stuffed animal that way, but don't do that if it's a bad idea. Because I don't know if hair dryers are okay with stuffed animals, but they're okay with their hair. So I'm gonna go ahead and just flip your cards over now. Yeah, 10 of Swords. Ooh, 7 of Wands. Ouch. 2 of Pentacles in reverse. I am so sorry, Pile 4. I don't know what's going on with you, but it seems like it's hitting you pretty hard right now. I'm gonna go ahead and just like, without further ado, I'm gonna turn over the card that was on the bottom of the deck too. I'm really doing like a traditional 3 card, and then this is from the bottom, and we have the Knight of Swords. So I feel like someone specifically is causing you some grief. Yeah, definitely do something to just sort of like give yourself a big hug. This is not an easy situation to be in. If you were asking if someone's your twin flame, that might be why the energy is so heavy, like, because we're just gonna start with the interpretations romantically. If you're asking about a twin flame, I would say it's not a twin flame. If you're asking if someone is your karmic, then I'm a little more inclined to say yeah, but I don't quite understand the point of karmics. I don't get the point. People talk about it like it's about learning to let go of things, and I'm just kind of like, then why don't they go away when you let go of them? If that's what it's about. But you know, maybe I just think people are karmics who aren't karmics in my life, and I should be more positive. So your situation from your end of things is the 10 of Swords. You are just in so much pain right now, and I'm so sorry that you have to deal with whatever this is. Like, it sucks. Even if it's just sucking in your head, I'm sorry. That's not fun. And with the 7 of Wands, you're fighting to like regain your footing. You're fighting to regain control of yourself. And with the 2 of Pentacles in reverse, it's a losing battle. You just like, things are just spinning out of control, and it's like no matter what you do to make things work again, this person just comes in and messes it up. So if you're asking about a romantic connection, no. And that should relax you. If you're asking if you have to be with someone, if you have to stick around someone, no. If you are in an environment, like emotionally, with someone who messes you up and you're like, do I really have to stay with this person? No. There is a solution out there. Set some intentions for getting somewhere safe, and GTFO. They don't deserve you. Whoever this is, they're a jerk, and I don't like them. We got the Knight of Swords in a different pile, and that Knight of Swords was all like grumpy and stuff, but this person is like actually a jerk. I don't like who the Knight of Swords is in this pile. I just don't. So that's for like relationship stuff. If you're asking if someone's going to leave you alone on their own, the answer is again probably no. And you'll have to like actually take the action needed to make them go away, which can be overwhelming, especially if they're like a stalker or something. I hope you don't have a stalker, but if you do have a stalker, you can still get rid of them. Okay, there are restraining orders. That's a place to start. There is you have resources to get rid of them. Worst case scenario, pepper spray them in the face. Like that's a last resort and everything. But like if someone won't leave you alone, punch them. Don't get in trouble for violence, but don't punch them. Actually, just please don't punch them. I'm an angry person. So that's for romantic things. For interpersonal connections, no, you don't owe this person anything. Also, no, don't get involved with them. For job stuff, I feel like you might be asking about a situation where you're like, should I just move on from this? And that, if you're asking about moving on from anything, actually, I would say absolutely. This is way more of a headache than it should be. This is way more a headache than you deserve to be going through. So if you're asking like if you should leave behind a job, yeah, go get a new job. Maybe line the new job up first before you leave this job, but like if you're not feeling what you're doing for work, then you're not feeling it, and it's not going to get better. So goodbye to whatever's bothering you. Just cut it out. Throw it in the trash. It's too much of a headache. You constantly feel like you have to defend yourself about this thing. You constantly feel like you're always in that point where it's like dark. It's the darkest point of the night before the dawn happens, and you're always like desperately wondering when the dawn's going to happen. And you feel like out of control, and like just you can't even make ends meet. You can't get things to go right, and it's not you. You're not the problem. I feel like maybe with the way things have been lately, you are starting to believe you're the problem, but you're not the problem. If you're asking about if you will get an opportunity, like if you will be able to find a job or if you will be able to find work, then the answer is yes. Eventually, you will. With chiromancy and taking action, you will find a job. You will get things under control. It'll be okay. But if you're in a situation where you need to walk away, then walk away. If you're trying to make something happen and it's just not wanting to happen, just sit down and make a clear idea of what actions you need to take and what you think needs to happen before this can happen, and do that. But whatever this Knight of Swords is for you, because it can represent a person, it can also represent travel, like air travel or like really, really distant travel, I think. Because if you get in an airplane, you're going a really far away. So like if you were trying to find a job and you're also living in the countryside, that can be an impediment and it makes things really difficult. So, and it can obviously represent like fixed ideas, because the knights have a fixed energy to them, and swords are ideas. So you have this idea in your head that you need to let go of, and it might be something self-defeating, like this belief that you aren't really worth anything, or it might be something more like I'm thinking, I promise the audio hasn't just died or anything. It might be something more like that you need to stay with the people around you, even though they don't make you feel good about yourselves, or like stuff like that. So you might have some ideas that you need to leave behind, because they're only sapping your energy and your strength and your ability to like be a vibrant and wonderful human being. But if you're asking if things are going to get better, I think they're only going to get better if you actually do something to fix them. And that's never really what you want to hear. Sometimes when you reach the point, if you're just asking if things are going to get better, it's because you're like at your last limit, you're worn out, and you've been defending yourself for so long that you just can't deal with this. And that, I think, if you're asking about things getting better, you need to sit down and like reevaluate where you've been putting your energy and what you've been putting your energy towards, and maybe look at where you should be putting your energy, because it's not this. That whatever idea you have in your head that you're putting all of your energy into, stop it. It's not worth your time. It's not worth your time to beat yourself up. It's not worth your time to tell yourself you belong with people who make you feel terrible. It's not worth it. So just leave this behind. Whatever this is, leave it behind. And once you leave these ideas behind, the path forward will become a lot clearer. So for your reading, I'm mostly going to say no, but it's a good thing that the answer is no. And if it's something that you can take action about, then that does change things. But if it's something where you feel helpless, cut it out. Throw it in the trash. It's gone. It can't hurt you anymore. I don't know. I keep trying to pad this out so that it's as long as the other readings, but this is pretty simple and straightforward. The answer is, just, it is what it is. So, thank you for watching. I hope you have a lovely night, and I hope that you have some, time to yourself to just kind of like pamper yourself, because I feel like you have a lot going on. So take care. Thank you.